Hello and welcome. I'm Lucy from Binge Worthy, and I help highly sensitive and empathic women in their binge eating recoveries. So we've got a Q&A video today. We've got a wonderful question from Aga. The full question is, I've been binge eating for over 20 years and at this point feel like I'm completely disconnected from my body all of the time. How can I start connecting to it again? So thank you, Aga, for sharing your experience with all of us and for asking this question. I think it's one that lots of us are going to relate to, those of us who struggle with binge eating and our relationships with food and our bodies, because disconnection, it is a part of binge eating. This disconnection from our hunger and how that feels in our bodies. This disconnection from feeling, really overly full and guilty and all of this after a binge. It's disconnection from our emotions and how they feel in our bodies, and this disconnection from this greater connection to the world around us. So, thank you. If we were working together and you came to me with this question, there would be two areas that I would really want to dig into and explore with you. And the first one is to understand really why it is that you've disconnected from your body. Because if I were to just give you some practices to reconnect to yourself, if you're still running the same programs underneath, you are going to find this so much harder because you'll be trying to connect to yourself, but there'll be a part of yourself that doesn't want to connect, and you'll be kind of pushing up against that resistance. So, a really great place to start is by breaking out your journal and asking yourself, in what ways have I disconnected from myself? And maybe asking yourself that question a few times and see what comes up, and it will likely be a few things. It won't be just this one aspect. There'll be a few different things going on here. So writing out everything that comes up, and maybe you'll get some answers like, I've disconnected from myself when I've ignored my hunger. I've disconnected from myself when I felt really overwhelmed in the moment. I've disconnected from myself and shut myself down when I felt angry. I've disconnected from myself when I'm at the gym and I'm going for certain goals. Yeah, whatever it is that comes up for you, write it all out so that you can see this big picture of all the ways that you've disconnected from yourself. And then you're going to ask yourself for each of those points, what's underneath this? So, really exploring the why behind what you've been doing. So, you might get an answer when you ask yourself what's underneath this, and you might find it helpful to then ask yourself again, and what's underneath that. This is about really getting to that root little part of you. And once you've done this for each of those answers you had with the first question, you might start to see a pattern. And for many of us, it'll likely be around a sense of, or a lack of a sense of security and safety within yourself and also within the world around you. So much of this work, so much of our struggles with our bodies and with binge eating comes down to this feeling of not enough. And when you look under that, there's this feeling of not feeling safe and just wanting to feel safe and accepted. So maybe that might not be the overarching thing for you. I think it will be for many people. Maybe there'll be a few different things going on there. But yeah, really digging down and seeing what this underlying piece is for you. So that's the first part of exploration. The second part is really exploring how you can connect to yourself. Because again, I can tell you to go away and do some practices, but there are so many moments in the day for you to connect to yourself just within that moment without necessarily doing a particular practice. And there will also be things that really help you to feel like you and bring yourself into your body in that moment. So, for example, I love yoga. Yoga has been a huge part of my binge eater recovery for me, for bringing me into my body and bringing me back in touch with my senses and how things feel in my body and what's going on for me. But you really might not love a yoga practice. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. The first um, little practice within here is asking yourself multiple times throughout the day, maybe like 10 times or more, how can I connect to myself right now? Maybe you're about to sit down to a meal and you ask yourself, how can I connect to myself right now? And usually you'd put on the telly as you're eating, but in that moment you think, okay, how can I connect to myself right now? I can sit in this quiet space and I can really feel into my hunger levels within my body. I can feel how the food feels in my body as I'm eating. I can get in touch with how it tastes, how it smells, what the textures are like, really allowing your meal to be this embodied experience where you're really coming into yourself for that experience. Maybe as you're commuting to work, you ask yourself, how can I connect to myself right now? And you start to slow down your pace and you feel your feet moving on the pavement. You feel the breeze on your skin. You feel how your clothes move on your skin. Or maybe as you're driving, you feel how you are sitting in the seats and the movement with the pedals and your breath in that moment and this wider um, awareness of what's going on around you. Maybe you are in the shower and you ask yourself, how can I connect to myself more? And you feel the temperature and how the water feels on your skin. You notice the smell of the shampoo and the texture of your hair as you wash it. All of these moments, these really like everyday moments, they are all opportunities for you to come into your body and experience what is happening within your body in that moment. So many moments of connection for ourselves. So I feel like those are two quite big areas of exploration, and this is work that you could like get deeper and deeper into and really like make a full embodied practice. But I will also give you, I'm going to give you 4 little practices as well in case that's kind of like what you want. You want something else to take away and to integrate into your life. So the first one is conscious breathing. And I know this sounds really simple, but if there is one practice that you take away from this, let it be conscious breathing because it is the most um, I want to say magical, so I'm going to say magical practice that really brings you into your body, into the present moment, into your experience, and it just feels really good once you really get it. So conscious breathing, it's breathing consciously. So to begin with, you might just want to notice how you are in your body, what your posture is doing. Notice whether you're breathing in and out of your nose or your mouth. Notice where you feel your breath moving in your body. Are you breathing up in your chest? Are you aware at all of your diaphragm moving? Is your tummy moving at all? This is a really interesting one. Like so many of us who don't particularly like our bodies, especially our tummies, we will unconsciously suck our tummies in throughout the day. And that really impacts our breathing because a natural full breath, and if you were to watch a baby breathe, your diaphragm moves down and your tummy expands on the inhale. And often I used to do what's called reverse breathing, where as I inhaled, I sucked my tummy in further. So maybe you might notice a bit of that going on for you. But yeah, just notice your breathing pattern to begin with. And then you're going to start this conscious breathing by taking these long, full, even breaths. So breathing in through your nose, and maybe just bring your posture more into like an upright alignment. So shoulders back and over your hips, your head over your shoulders. Breathing in through your nose, long, full breath, and imagining your breath traveling all the way down to your tummy, feeling your tummy fully expanding with the breath. And then as you exhale, just letting that go, letting the breath go, letting your tummy gently drawing back in, and letting your breath go back out of your nose. Now you can do this as you're going about your day, as you're washing up, as you're driving, or you can allow this to be a bit more of a practice where you sit maybe with your eyes closed in stillness. This is basically the beginning of a meditation practice. This is the breathing pattern that we consciously connect to in order to bring us into that state of meditation. And yeah, I just find it brings us out of our heads, because that's the thing with being disconnected from our bodies. We so often spend so much time up in our heads, up in thoughts. I used to describe myself as like a floating head because I was so unaware of what was happening below it. And with this breath, when we're focusing on how it feels within our bodies, it's drawing our attention out from our heads and into that felt sense, and really brings us into the moment too. And of course, the present moment is where all the good stuff is. It's where life is happening and where you can connect to yourself. So that's conscious breathing. The second one is naming your emotions, often called affect labeling. That's what the neuroscientists that have studied this have called it. And it's simply a practice of asking yourself, how am I feeling? Take a moment to really feel into that question, maybe taking a couple of those conscious breaths and answering the question, I am feeling X. I am feeling excited. I'm feeling disappointed. I am feeling joyous. I'm feeling frustrated. Whatever it is that you are feeling, naming it. And this has been shown to, well, first, you are consciously bringing your awareness as to how you are feeling. And with those uncomfortable emotions that we might often call negative emotions, it's actually been shown to decrease how intensely we feel them. And I can put some notes below this video if you want to find out more about that. But it's such a simple and wonderful practice, especially if you are someone who often experiences overwhelm with these negative emotions, and so you shut yourself off from them. With this, it's really important that you answer the question with, I am feeling X, rather than saying, I am X. We don't want to overly identify with the emotion. Emotions are experiences we have that move through us, but they are not us. When I used to really, really struggle with anxiety, the like looping thought pattern I had was, I am anxious. I am anxious. I'm an anxious person. It's who I am. When in reality, anxiety was a feeling. It was an experience that I was having that could pass and that did pass. And yeah, whatever the emotion is, you want to simply say, I am feeling this rather than I am this. And again, this can be a little thing that you do throughout the day. You ask yourself, how am I feeling? And you answer it. Maybe it's something that you journal in your journal every morning and evening, just simply answering that question for yourself. The third one is one of my favorite practices, and that is dancing. Um, Dancing with the intention of connecting to your body. So putting on a song that you love, obviously, and moving your body without trying to like do any particular moves or choreography or try and be sexy or anything like that. Just moving your body because it feels good and because it helps you to bring yourself again out of your mind and into your body. And if you like the sound of this, but you think that you feel a bit awkward about dancing sober at home on your own, like I get it, start by putting that song on and maybe taking a few of those conscious breaths, and then just start moving your hips. I find when we move our hips and our tummy, like this central part of ourselves, um, that just really helps to bring us straight into our body. And maybe you just kind of like sway for the duration of that song. And that is wonderful if you feel yourself connecting to your body through that. So that's dancing. And the last one is a practice of touch, because obviously that's a wonderful way to connect to ourselves, is to physically place our hands over our bodies. Now, this can be quite confrontational if you are someone who I think probably lots of you watching this will be. If you're someone who doesn't like parts of your body, again, there are parts of yourself that you don't like to acknowledge, you don't like to look at, you don't like to touch, you definitely don't like other people touching. This is funny. I'm just noticing that I'm unconsciously touching my tummy as I said that, because this is the part of my body that I feel most uncomfortable about and uncomfortable with, like someone else touching. So there's no particular right or wrong way to do this. You might want to just start by moving your hands over a part of your body that feels a bit more neutral to you, and just going really slowly. Maybe it feels nice to like apply a bit of pressure to yourself, so just giving yourself gentle squeezes. I really like this one. And really feel into how this feels in your body. This isn't about like our thoughts about our bodies and judging ourselves. If you notice as you move your hands over a part of yourself that there is a thought there, there's a judgment. Maybe I just had a thought then that, oh my goodness, I'm so soft on my underarms. Just notice that thought and be like, okay, that was a thought I had, and let it go, and come back to how your hand feels on your body. And just like touching my arms a couple of times, then I can feel my arms more. I am more aware of my arms. It's like as you're touching yourself, you're reawakening that part of yourself. You're um, turning that part of yourself back on. And obviously, this doesn't have to just be your arms. This can be your whole body. If there are parts of yourself that you do feel like uncomfortable touching, you don't have to go there straight away. You know, start with those parts of yourself that feel more neutral, and play with this with clothes on, but also clothes off. You know, this can be a bit more of a sensuality practice to really like bring yourself into your body and all of those felt senses within your body. So that's touch. I hope this is helpful. I hope that there are lots of things within here for you to explore in terms of bringing yourself back into your body. I know I've touched on quite a few things and these practices at a very high level. So if you want more details or further resources or anything, please just let me know. I'm just trying to keep this video short but informative for you. And yeah, if you have a question that you'd like to ask me, if you're a highly sensitive woman or an empath, and your question is around supporting your binge eating recovery, your relationship with your body, your worth, food, obviously, then head to bingetrainworthy.com/q dash and dash A. I'll pop the link below. Just pop your name and email address in there and you'll get the Q&A submission form. Okay, I'll leave you there. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon.